This is Money, Motivation, and Mike. And hello to you, world. Another day, another opportunity to spread some wealth of information. Now, Jason, if I said Van Allen Probe A, would you know what that means?
I'd have no idea.
That is the spacecraft satellite that will be entering back in to Earth that's been in space for 14 years.
I'm surprised I don't know about this.
It will be entering, by the time our show runs, it will be back. Well, it's not going to be back on Earth because it's going to burn out as it enters the stratosphere. So, yes, Van Allen Probe A weighs 1,300 pounds. All right. Now, obviously it has no driver in it. Probably the computer and the AI stuff is probably better than the driver in there anyway. But nevertheless, it will basically disintegrate whenever it enters. But there's still going to be fabric, particles, some kind of metals that are going to land somewhere. And it's brought up a point of where are these items going to land? Well, NASA predicts, not NASA knows. NASA predicts that it will hit somewhere in the ocean. The items that are coming down that do not burn out. Somewhere in the ocean. And a chance of it hitting you. An item hitting you.
Yeah.
Let's say a 12 by 12 plate of metal. What do you think the chances of that hitting you are?
Me as an individual.
You as an individual or any other individual.
Well, I mean, you got 6 billion people. Actually, it's greater than that now. Over 6 billion people in the world. So 1 in 6 billion at minimum.
1 in 4,200. You have a 1 in 4,200 chance of being hit by some of these objects that do not burn out when the Van Allen Probe A enters Earth. March the 10th at 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. I thought that was intriguing that you have a 1 in 4,200 chance.
That blows my mind.
But since Earth is 70+% water, they predict everything will hit the Earth. Now, as scientific as that place is, putting a man on the moon all the way back in 1969, how would they not know where that's going to enter and where those items are going to fall? How would they not know down to the pound what's not going to burn up? All the engineers they have, Jason.
Yeah.
And they can't figure out within, let's just say 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles. They can't figure out within a certain diameter of where those items are going to. You've had this vehicle or this satellite, whatever you want to call it. They actually call it a spacecraft. Up there for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you're fixing to bring it back. And you don't know what part of the Earth, what part of the Earth it will be over when it enters. It's just mind-boggling to me. But the 1 in 4,200 blew me away. Now, let me blow you away with this. Because, you know, these astronauts go up there and they stay sometimes 6 months. You know, there's an astronaut up there over 600 days once upon a time. He just retired of 27 years as an astronaut.
Yeah, I believe that was a Boeing astronaut.
Is that right?
They got stuck up there, and Elon Musk had to send up his ship.
Elon Musk did go help. That's right. And I believe he was there for 602 days.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yes. Okay. Now, what do you think the average salary is of an astronaut?
Probably not high enough for me to jump on.
I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
The average salary, they start out at around 100,000 and they can get as high as 160,000.
Okay.
Now that don't seem like a whole lot of money to me for, well, I mean, every time you have an opportunity to go off the ground, you have an opportunity to die. I'm going to bet life insurance is not a part of their repertoire, not something that they can obtain in a normal come by, take some blood fashion. I really don't think they can.
I'm sure there's some insurance company out there. You pay a pretty good premium. They'd take a chance on it.
Maybe the family is being insured by the federal government.
Yeah.
Maybe that is.
Maybe so.
Now, and as we know, a lot of these astronauts have served in the armed forces. So let's just say they were with the Air Force. They still get their Air Force retirement, including now working for NASA and getting that particular salary as well. So if they've served and they get their salary from, let's just say, the Air Force or the Armed Forces and from NASA, they can make almost $200,000.
Well, there you go. Starts adding up.
Are you going to go down there and do this NASA thing for 200?
I'd consider it. I have no problem going to space. I mean,
I didn't say going to space.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's people that pay to go to space every day.
Yeah.
And I'd love to go to space.
Okay.
I'd love to go to space, and I'd love to see the Titanic. Unfortunately, my skill set does not allow me to do either one.
I think it's safer to go to space than it is to go down Titanic.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Isn't it incredible that we don't know what's in the water, but we know what's in space?
Yeah, we know more about space than we do than what's below our seas.
It's almost as incredible as a spacecraft that's been in the air for been in space for 14 years.
Yeah.
And we don't know where exactly it's going to enter.
Yeah.
Orbit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I bet you they know where it's going to re-enter. I bet they don't know where it's going to end up with with everything breaking up. Be my guess.
Do they not have meteorologists down there, Jason?
Well, you know,
factoring in the wind.
Meteorologists, you know how that is.
Jeez.
You live in Texas. You see our weather.
But this is NASA.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in my time growing up, and of course, growing up in the 70s and into the 80s, you just come out of putting an astronaut on the moon, the Apollo 13 program. Being an astronaut was like, it was bigger than being a movie star or a rock star.
Yeah.
An athlete.
Yeah.
If you're an astronaut, I mean, because here's the deal. Can Neil Armstrong, you want to be Neil Armstrong or you want to be Roger Staubach?
Well, growing up, it was probably Neil Armstrong.
It was Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
That's
maybe not for everybody.
Maybe Neil Armstrong versus Elvis. People still rather be Elvis.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, 99% of the people out there that grew up during that time would rather be Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
It was just a big deal. It was like something that we couldn't imagine, something you can't, it's so far off that you can't even touch it. And for this guy to go and do what they did. And then of course, the Apollo 13 movie that came out in the mid 90s,
Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks put that together and Ron Howard. That's a Ron Howard movie that Tom Hanks was the star of.
Right.
Yes. And me and O'Ronnie, we love each other.
Is that right?
Andy Griffith Show.
Yes, that's right.
That's Little Opie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And did you also know, and I'm getting off track here, I know the viewing and listening audience can't believe that the little boy, Leon, in Andy Griffith.
Okay.
That's Opie's little brother.
Okay.
Real life little brother.
Okay.
And he's the one with hardly any hair, bald, and glasses, sitting there at the control center. That's the same guy.
Okay.
That's Ron Howard's brother.
Incredible. Did not know that.
You know which one I'm talking about?
I do. As soon as you described his glasses,
Yes.
I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think he says something along the lines, from this desk, there's no way to get that spacecraft back.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yep.
Did he not?
Yep. I think that's right.
That was a real quote.
Yeah.
And from that particular time, and that's Ronnie Boy's brother.
Yeah. And it's a credible movie too.
It really is. It really is. Jim Lovell, who that was.
That's right.
And so, okay. So we have no electricity in the module.
Oh, we're talking about Apollo 11?
Yeah, we're back to Apollo 13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay.
No
Yeah.
electricity.
Yeah.
No guidance.
Mm-hmm.
The spacecraft has been damaged. But we can get that back. But we don't know where this spacecraft, a satellite, etc., is going to enter the Earth here on March the 10th.
We can only control what we can control.
This is
Hey, they still scrub launches at the Space Center So you're out there, everybody's ready to go. Everybody thinks they're about to get a show. And next thing you know, a little rain shower comes through.
Yeah.
Wind gust, and it's called off to the next day.
Yeah. The old O-ring from 1985.
Yeah.
Or was that January 86 when the space shuttle blew up?
Challenger?
Yeah. With the teacher on board.
I want to say 86.
I think it was January of 86.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but I think you're right.
Now, let's get into something here that we can control. Since you decided we can't control NASA. And that is
Mother Nature.
Mother Nature.
Yeah. Can't control Mother Nature.
Can't control Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've always been able to find a way to get through it in the past. So anyway, we'll get back to you. I just want you to know tonight, December the 10th, that's tonight because our show comes on tomorrow. At 6:45 Eastern, Central Standard Time, 7:45 Eastern, you need to go in the house because you could get hit. You got a 1 in 4,200 chance.
Better than the winning the lottery.
You know where I'll be at 6:45? Under my bed. with my kitchen equipment on.
Yeah.
So if I get hit in the head, it won't hurt as bad.
There you go.
Things we can control. And when it comes to taxes, and it is that time, and I have been reminded by several listeners that I have not covered a whole lot of tax topics here, and we already are in the first part of March, and actually I haven't. And there's so many other things that have been going on that we've been covering, and that has been more important at this time. But right now, it is taxes. And this big, beautiful bill that was passed last summer, and the two big things that stand out to me, actually, there's three, but really just the two. And what I mean by that is the child tax credit going from $2,000 to $2,200 for a child under 17, that you get an additional $200. But the big one here is if you're over 65 and over, you get an additional $6,000 deduction. So you've got your couple who basically are retired with their standard deduction of married, filing jointly. They get an additional amount of money for being over 65 or older, and now they get an additional $6,000 for being 65 or older. All of a sudden, their standard deduction is up to about $45,000. That's unheard of. It's never been that high. Now, also remember this. Look at all the people we have that all they're doing is living off their Social Security check. And there's a lot of them because it's baby boomer payoff time. So if all you have is Social Security, these deductions mean nothing to you because you don't need them. You have to have income for your Social Security to become taxable. So if all you have is his and hers Social Security checks coming in, and you've heard about all these extra deductions that you now get, and $12,000, $6,000 a piece is a big deal, it really doesn't affect a lot of senior citizens. So it's been put in there to show you that the federal government's trying to give you something, but how many people does it actually help? First of all, you got to be 65. And number two, you have to have earned income. Less than 50%, Jason, on this one $6,000 deduction is being affected.
Okay.
Of the 65-year-olds. Okay? Now, the big one that affects a lot of people is the overtime. And you're aware of this, Jason, that the overtime is not taxable now.
I have been made aware, yes.
Yes, you have. Okay? Now, that is a big deal, and they're being lenient on that. They, the IRS, being lenient on that this year. And what I mean by that is it's supposed to be in box 14 of your W-2. And we've had several people come in that said they had overtime and nothing is in box 14. Their employer then gives them a letter showing their overtime.
So I see where the issue is.
Yes.
You're going to be thinking, as a tax preparer, you're going to think that is normal salary, not the overtime. So if they don't have it in box 14, then you don't know what to put towards overtime.
You do not know. And I've had people come in, hey, I had overtime. Well, it doesn't show up on your W-2. They go back to the employer, and the employer gives them a letter saying you had $6,800 worth of overtime.
Is that sufficient?
It is right now.
Okay.
How many fraudulent letters is there going to be out there this year that I had overtime?
Well, that falls back on the employee, does it not?
It falls back on the feds for not wrapping that particular loophole up.
Yeah.
They should have it ironclad. If I don't care how much overtime you've worked, if it's not in box 14 showing your overtime, you don't get to take that deduction. Because they walk in and here's my W-2 and here's my letter from my employer. Now, I know that I have no clientele that would ever do that.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say they did. They pulled out, they made up, they got their company's name there at the top of their W-2. They got the address.
The letterhead, that.
They put their own letterhead together. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah.
You can go online right now and make you up a letterhead. Looks like you're Congress. And the letter's coming from your congressman. This stuff is so easy to do now.
Yeah. And we're not suggesting you should do this.
I'm not suggesting you should do it. I'm suggesting that the IRS has got to tie this deal up.
Yeah.
And that's literally how the overtime is working. Now, there's been a lot of employers that are doing it the right way, no pun intended, and it's down there in box 14.
Yeah. Showing
the overtime. But you literally could go make $40,000 and go put you a letter together and say, I had $10,000 worth of overtime, and take it to your tax preparer.
Yeah.
It's just astonishing to me.
Get a good payroll preparer.
Well, the employers have been unprepared.
Yeah.
Now, believe it or not, even though you passed a tax bill last summer, it takes so long to implement that stuff. You know, they pass laws now, and it may be 2 years before that law actually takes effect. And so for them to get it in order in 6 months, okay, and this is what I mean. All right, they just passed where overtime is now not taxable. Now, how are we going to report that to the employee? And who knows, by the time they sit down and they do their paperwork and they pull out their big chief tablets and run through this stuff, it's November, December. And so some employers knew how to do it and some didn't. I just think it's wild.
Yeah.
That they have that big of an issue. And it is an issue with allowing the employee to decide what is my overtime. And I've also had a client say I had more overtime than that, but the employee gave him a letter, $2,300. So there's no way. I only make this per hour. Do this times 40. Do this times 52. Now, subtract that off of what my total is. That's more than $2,300.
Yeah.
And they're right.
Crazy stuff.
It is crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But as you just said, this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
But that was on NASA. This should be easy peasy.
You would think.
Maybe they can't figure out where that spacecraft's going to enter the orbit. Now, just yesterday, clientele said they wanted to file married filing separately. My first question was why? Because very seldom is it best to file married filing separately. So married filing jointly, standard deduction, $30,000. And your 15% tax bracket, let's just say, is $100,000 and below. And those are rounded numbers. You go file separately, all that gets cut in half because this spouse gets that half and this spouse gets this half. All right. Then you have one of the taxpayers who make $80,000 and you have another taxpayer who only makes $25,000. Obviously, the one that makes $25,000 doesn't need as much deduction or doesn't need as much of the tax bracket to get themselves down to where they want to be. But the person who files separately that has the $80,000 needs the deductions of the full deduction of merit filing separately, and they need more of their money being taxed at the lower rate. But of their 80,000, well, after it goes over 50, you're over here in the 30,000 when the person over here that made 25,000 still has another 25,000 that they could have loaned to their spouse if they'd filed jointly. So
the sum of their incomes helps bring them, average it out to a lower tax bracket. Is that right?
In this particular scenario, 80,000, 25,000 is 105,000. You're barely over the 15% tax bracket.
Yeah.
But if I make 80,000, I mean, you're 5,000 over. But if I make 80,000, I only get half of that tax bracket because the other half's going to my spouse. Well, now I've got $30,000 that I got to pay at the next tax bracket. That's why merit filing separately is hardly ever a deal. Now, where it does come into play is that your spouse owes back child support. They owe back education expenses, where if you file together, they're going to garnish all of that refund.
Yeah.
You file separately, then the other spouse who doesn't have those debts can still get their portion of the refund.
Right. Gotcha.
All right. Or you're getting divorced and I'm not filing with you. I don't care what it costs. I'm doing my own thing. That would be another reason. So very seldom is merit filing separately a good route to go. Very seldom. You need to make sure that you're aware of that. Now, another thing that is of big interest and savings. And as hard as it is for the young folk today to own a house, hardly any of them are involved in a retirement plan at their age. I see these W-2s and are they covered under a retirement plan? There's a box on the W-2 that's checked, which means they have a retirement plan capability at their work. But boxes 1, 3, and 5 are all the same. And there is nothing down in box 12, which is a D, and D stands for your deferred 401k. None of them have it in there. I bet it's 1 in 75. They are not saving. Now, maybe it's because they don't have the money, but they don't go to work at age 22 and automatically enroll into the retirement category. And it's disappointing. And I do my best to point this out to every person who comes in the door because most employers match a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's free money.
Right.
You put in $1 and they put in 50 cents. Your dollar's now worth $1.50 before it even goes to work for you.
Yeah.
And all that does is increase your salary benefits that you're getting from your employer.
The younger you start, the easier and cheaper it is to invest and have more money at the end of it.
And you basically can create a increase in your salary by getting involved in your 401k plan at your work. And a lot of employers offer that. But nevertheless, sometimes we're just not smart enough to go out here and take advantage of it. Now, a big retirement vehicle is the Roth IRA. And in 25, if you were under 50, you could only do 7,000. Here in 26, you can do 75,000. And if you're over 50, it was 8,000 in 25, and now you can do 8,600. Because if you're over 50, it's called catch-up phase, where you get to do a little bit more than you have done in the past. So to me, that's the first thing you want to go max out if you're not involved in your retirement plan at your work. Or maybe one of you have that opportunity and one of you don't. The Roth IRA, you don't get to deduct it like you do a traditional IRA, but that money grows tax-free. And as long as you're 59 and a half before you pull it out, you don't owe any tax. So you put $1,000 to work today at age 22, What would you have at 59? Obviously, the interest rate is the big variable there, but you can have a lot of money if you would just go put it away and forget about it. But for some reason, well, I say some reason, I know what it is that the young folk right now, they don't have the money. I mean, there's still a lot of young folk living with their parents, which I would think would give them even more opportunity to go and invest and get involved in some kind of retirement plan, with their work. But hey, what do I know? Now, with your 401k, but there's also a 403b, and there's as well as a 457b. In 2025, at your employment, you could put up to $23,500 into your 401k. In 2026, it's $24,500. So there is big opportunity there. I know there's a lot of people that barely make $23,500 a year. Well, let's just say $24,500. But if you could somehow, some way, find a way to just put back something, $10, $25, find a way to work your way up to $100. You have to start somewhere. You do not have to start with doing $1,000 a month or anything along those lines. Just get something started. And then from there, what the motivating factor is seeing your statements on a regular basis and how that money's growing. And when you see it grow, then you're going to want to go and try to find ways to put more money in there, either cutting back or finding additional income that will allow you to go out and invest a little bit more in your future. And that is one of our biggest issues right now, is that we're not getting ready for our future. But there's a lot of things. The biggest deal is you need to consult with your tax professional on all of our tax items, and you need to, in my opinion, get with a broker, a financial advisor who can help you with all these things. See, I'm big on this. Example, had a tax client in, and they had made over $50,000, Jason, in interest from a bank. Now, the first thing that goes off in my light is the monies they had to have in the bank to make $50,000 worth of interest.
That's a pretty significant amount.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then the next thought is, how much money have they lost because they have their money in a bank and not in some investment vehicle? Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you the truth. A savings account is not a retirement vehicle. A savings account is not where you make money. It's where the bank makes money. Unfortunately, we try to invest at the bank. Banks are for banking. What do we do at a bank? You put your money in, you pay all your bills, what you got left, you go to the grocery store, here's $10 to go to the show, I need to put some gas in the car. That's what banking is. Oh, I need to buy a new car. Let me go get a loan. That's what banking is. Putting my nest egg at the bank is the worst possible place you could do it. And you tell every banker out there, and I know a bunch of them, tell them that Money, Motivation, and Mike told you to get your money out of the bank. Not because it's not safe, because you're losing money every day. That's my thought for today, Jason. You think we're going to get some bankers calling us this week?
Yeah, no telling. Hopefully they'd give them good advice. They need to. You
know what they'd say?
What's that?
Quit giving out our secrets. And you know what else they'd say? We've been fooling people for 100 years. It is no big deal.
Yeah.
You're not the first person to sing this song. And they're right. You can find all of our content at mx3.vip or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@MX3 Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Get notified of all of our new content. Go down and give us some comments. Hey, and Jason, I told you I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. Every one of them at the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Every one of them.
That's right.
Says it. Now, when you started giving me this to say 2.5+ years ago, when we started up our YouTube channel, why do I need to say that? I think it's because everybody else is saying it. That's a good point. Well, and as we know, as the 300,000 subscriber is right around the corner, we know now that it works. So nevertheless, bankers, I love you, but I only want to bank with you. Until next time, continue to live your life the right way.